I'd like to call the Gurnee Village Board regular meeting of November 9th, 2020 to order. Roll call, please, Andy.
Ross.
Here.
Garner.
Here.
O'Brien.
Present.
Thomas. Hood.
Here.
Thorstensen.
Here.
5 present, 1 absent.
All right, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening and welcome. First item on our agenda is approval of the consent agenda as presented. Do I have a motion to approve? Motion by trustee O'Brien, second by trustee Garner. Roll call, please, Andy.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
5 aye.
Motion carries. Patrick, please read the consent agenda into the record. Thank you, Patrick. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as read into the record?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Garner, second by trustee Ross. Roll call.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
5 aye.
Motion carries. Petitions and communications. First is a proclamation for the National American Indian and Alaska Native Heritage Month. It's November 2020, for November 2020. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee O'Brien, second by trustee Thorstensen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, it will be National American Indian and Alaska Native Heritage Month. We have a proclamation tonight for the Warren Township High School, Future Business Leaders of America. Their American Enterprise Day is November 15th, 2020. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Ross,
Second.
second by trustee Garner. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right. November 15th will be American Enterprise Day. All right. No. Although I don't know. Bryson, are you part of National FBLA? I'm not. Okay, okay, all right. Next up, so I'm making a recommendation to establish and appoint some members to an Environmental Sustainability Committee. Trustee Hood has talked to me several times over the last few months. We as a village, under our last strategic plan, did a lot of work on being more green and reducing our carbon footprint, and we made a lot of progress here internally, but I think we kind of lost focus and never really pushed it out into the community. And our water quality is constantly at risk, our air quality is constantly at risk, all of our natural resources. So Tom's very passionate about this, or about this issue, about protecting and preserving our natural resources. So I'm going to let him run with it for a while. He's given me 2 members that both are, again, very passionate about air and water quality and preserving our natural resources. So Tom would be the chair, Rick Osa would be a member, and Shelley Lazaris is a member. And Tom will probably come back. It may expand, you know, once they kind of come up with a mission statement and some tactics and objectives, but for right now, that's a good start. So if no one has any objections, do I have a motion to approve an environmental committee?
Motion approved.
Motion from trustee Ross, second by trustee Thorstensen. Do I have to do roll call or?
Yeah,
All right.
it would be best.
All right, roll call, please, Andy.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
5 aye.
All right. Trustee Hood, would you like to add anything?
Just is Shelley Lazarus here? No? I thought there'd be your Rick Osa. No, Mary, you summed it up nicely. I think it's, we're really looking to engage the public and encourage them to be more green and to look at the sustainability side of it. So we're hopeful that, we know that many people out in the public are very interested in that, so we want to draw on what the citizens are looking to have done. And yeah, and then we'll report back to the board in a few months just to see, talk about our headway and then get some direction. So it is a recommending body. It doesn't operate on its own. It'll be subject to the village board.
Very good. Well, thank you for picking up the cause and running with it. Okay, reports, anything, Pat?
Not at this time.
Okay. Any old business?
No.
All right. And we'll move on to new business. The first item is approval of ordinance 2020-62,
62?
granting a major PUD modification pursuant to the Gurnee zoning ordinance for 7735 Route 132.
Sure. So you had a memo from our planning manager, Tracy Velkover, on this. Kensington Development Partners, they were before the Planning and Zoning Board on October 7th, petitioning for a major modification to the PUD for the property that's the former Lowe's site, about 14.5 acres. Looking for the following: to clarify that education facility includes university vocational school as a permitted use, add drive-through restaurant and outdoor dining associated with the restaurant as a permitted use subject to the standards of the zoning ordinance, amend the lighting standards to be consistent with the zoning ordinance, add one ground sign along Grand Avenue, size and height and all other regulations to be in accordance with the sign regulations, and allow all the signs on the site to be used by tenants within the development, and then amend the Rollins Road setback from 290 feet to 40 feet, the Rollins Road parking setback from 31 feet to 25 feet, and establish the parking setback interior to any commercial lot line as 0 feet. A lot of the requested amendments are simply aligning this 20-year-old PUD with what is currently allowed in the zoning ordinance. So clarifying the educational facility, as well as the changes to the lighting, the setbacks, and the restaurant use to the drive-through and outdoors dining. All of those requests conform with the current zoning ordinance. It's just when the PUD was put together, that language didn't match up. So the only requests that exceeds the code allowance are the third ground sign and allowing tenants located within the development to have representation on the ground signs, even though they might not be located on the parcel for which the sign is located. So the PZB talked about this a little bit. They believe that the 700 feet of frontage along Route 132 can reasonably accommodate one more ground sign and allow the tenants within that development to be located on that sign. They did clarify that and put a limit on the number of tenant panels for the existing ground signs at 4 on each sign face. So following the discussion and a presentation by Kensington, the PZB is forwarding a unanimous favorable recommendation. And I know we have the petitioner here tonight, as well as a representative from the College of Lake County who is looking to pick up the Lowe's building and use it as an educational facility.
Okay. Let's see if there's questions from the trustees first. Trustee Thorstensen?
Mine's really not a question. I just want to commend Tracy, if you could pass it on, and our PZB. Really, really good work here. Really outstanding work on the details.
Thank you. They do,
Glad we can make this live
yeah,
work for us.
they do a lot of the legwork for us, so we don't have to spend time on it. Questions here?
No question.
Okay. Who's from the College of Lake County? Okay. Oh, okay. Do you want to make a statement? Yeah, would you both like to make public comment? Just, okay.
Good evening. I'm Dan Ray with Kensington Development Partners. I'd just like to thank you for taking the time to consider our amendment to the PUD for the property at 7735. Thank you very much.
All right. You do nice work, so we're glad to keep you in town.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, I'll just say it's been a pleasure working with Kensington, with Ellen on this project. The college is delighted to be part of the Village of Gurnee and bring an advanced technology center that is really intended to support the economic development of this region, and so it will be a draw. So we're very excited. We hope to be able to show you a great example in the coming months of what our vision is, and here if you have any questions.
Okay. I think it's good. It's a good fit, even though we've always seen this as a commercial site. A lot of our manufacturers in town, they want that high-tech training. So I think this is a wonderful addition and, brings in people to patronize the stores and restaurants. So I think it's a great reuse of a very difficult building to fill. So, and Kensington always does a nice job with their development. All right, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Garner, second by trustee O'Brien. Roll call, please.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien. Aye. Hood.
Yes.
Thorstenson.
Yes.
5 aye.
All right, congratulations, welcome, motion carries. I look forward to seeing this get underway. All right, item number 2 is approval of ordinance 2020-63, amending the Gurnee Municipal Code, Chapter 6, Section 55, and Chapter 32, Section 32, to provide for a Class 15 liquor license.
Sure. So you had a memo from our Economic Development Director, Ellen Dean, on this. She worked in conjunction with Chief Smith and Attorney Winter. The topic of BYOB recently came up. The village basically has 3 options: do nothing, and it's allowed unregulated; prohibit it; or a third option is to put some parameters in place and require a license. So Ellen's got a PowerPoint she's going to run through here, as well as staff's recommendation on the creation of a new Class 15 license.
All right, well, thank you very much, Pat and Mayor and Board. The prompt for tonight's discussion is really the fact that we have a new business in town that we are welcoming to the east side of town, East Grand. It's a new business called Express Your Brush. The owner is here with us this evening, and Express Your Brush is a paint and sip type of business, which we've actually had inquiries from in the past. And we decided that this was really a good opportunity to take a look at our ordinance and see what we could do to facilitate. They're quite popular businesses. Pino's Palette, Painting with a Twist, Board and Brush is another one that have really proliferated throughout the suburbs. These are adult-focused group socialization opportunities, date night or, family night or church groups or birthday parties. And they usually, typically involve BYOB. So this is something that we have not permitted in Gurnee, at least not actively. The reality is, after looking into this, the state of Illinois does allow BYOB in the absence of local regulation. So right now, the Village of Gurnee does not have local regulation, and as such, BYOB in commercial establishments is permitted. So we really have 3 options in front of us right now. One would be to continue to take no action, remain silent on the issue, in which case the state law prevails and BYOB continues as any individual property owner might choose to allow it. If we choose to regulate it, which is what's being proposed this evening, we can do that via licensing or permitting, or we could outright prohibit it. But that seems to be not an economic development initiative that I think would be very business friendly, and so I was really hoping that we could talk about a middle path. Our Gurnee Police Department, thank you very much to Chief Smith and Traffic Safety Tech Earl Tuckman for some pretty extensive research. You can see here between our research and that of the Village of Mundelein when they looked at a similar BYOB ordinance a few years ago. About 2/3 of the communities we looked at do permit it with a license. Only about 1/3 stay silent, which, as we just discussed, means it's allowed. And we really didn't find any that prohibited it. So after, the coronavirus pandemic has given us, unfortunately, several occasions to talk with our restaurants. But one of the good things that came out of those conversations, many good things, but one is their feedback on BYOB. They are generally not in favor of allowing it in restaurants. So we're not proposing it in the restaurant setting. There were a few restaurants that gave us feedback saying, healthy competition is good, we're not opposed to it, but the majority were concerned that all the investment they've made in training and, insurance and fees should be protected. So we're not proposing it for restaurants. We are, however, proposing 3 areas, salons, full-service salons, that would offer a full complement of service, not just a nail salon, not just a, one-off, really that full-service salon where you're going for bridal parties and things like that. Arts and crafts studios like the Paint and Sip that we have before us, or will soon have before us as an applicant. There's also a ceramic studio in town that might be interested once this is available. And then, of course, we have, as you know, we have many entertainment venues that feed off of our family-friendly major attractions, and those entertainment venues might be the escape rooms that are at Gurnee Mills, or the extreme flight simulator that's in Tri-State Business Park, and those all would probably increase their regional appeal with BYOB being an option. So it just opens up new opportunities for corporate groups and adults to really get together and use that as an evening out. So the common thread among all these service type establishments is that we're requiring structured activities. BYOB must take place only within the structured time. You've reserved an hour or 2 for your painting session or your crafting session or your escape room adventure. So in a set time period reserved, the participants are registering in advance. This is a very structured sort of situation. So the specific provisions that we think make sense after all of the police department's research and thinking about it, and can't say enough of appreciation for that. As I said, not permitted in restaurants, not co-permitted with any other liquor license type, so this needs to be a standalone liquor license. Beer and wine only, no spirits. The quantity would be restricted on the front end and on the back end. So per patron, no more than a bottle of wine, a 6-pack of beer, just because those are easy quantities to, bring in. The consumption is a little bit less than that, no more than 36 ounces of beer consumed per person in a calendar day, or 18 ounces of wine. And then if you obviously hope to have some left to take home, it does need to be resealed, and the Illinois Liquor Control Commission has very specific guidelines on how containers need to be resealed in order to be transported, so they'd have to follow that. The hours, 3 to 10 p.m., but that's the max, so within that 3 to 10 p.m., if your structured activity is 3 to 5, that's when you can do BYOB. You can't just sit around and drink after you've gotten done with your class. If we're giving businesses who choose to pursue this license the option of charging a corkage fee if they choose, not required. But if they do choose to get involved in the serving themselves, they do need to have a Bassett-trained employee doing the serving. No matter whether they choose that or not, all licensees have to have dram shop insurance. And of course, because this is a liquor license, we expect them to comply with all local and state laws and regulations, including being responsible for not serving to minors and not over-serving patrons of any age. Those go along with the responsibility of holding any liquor license. So, which raises the issue, we'll continue to use our normal liquor license application process, where they fill out the complete application, go through background check. We'll ask all the same questions that we would with any of the other categories. So the standards are quite high, but the fee is a lot lower. So most of our license classifications might be in the $1,200 to $2,000 price range, and this is $500, for obvious reasons. There's no revenue coming to the business from this. But we hope that we have covered the bases of the flashpoints that might be of concern. I think we've really appreciated Attorney Winter and Shia Smith and Earl Tuckman and all the kind of collaboration of how we put this all together. And I think as a staff team, we're feeling pretty comfortable. And I just thank you for the opportunity to bring it, and we'll take any questions.
On that slide, I have one quick one before I ask
Sure.
the trustees. If serving, under what circumstances would somebody be serving if I'm bringing my own bottle?
So under any licensee under BYOB could just provide glasses, plastic cups, things like that, the basic utensils that they need, and that they could serve themselves. But this would give the business the opportunity to insist that they do the serving. And if they wanted to have that extra measure of control, for instance, that they'd just like to put somebody of their staff in charge of the serving, to make sure that they're looking at patrons and making sure that no one's breaking the rules, over drinking, they can do that, but if they choose to engage in that level of responsibility, they do need to be Bassett trained.
So under no circumstances would an owner of a salon or entertainment venue be able to buy their own bottles of wine and just serve it?
Correct.
All right. Okay, I'll open up for questions from Trustee O'Brien.
I have two that I didn't really see addressed. Nice presentation, by the way. That's a
Thank
cool
you.
idea, thank you. What happens if there's an unlicensed business found to be doing BYOB? I didn't see any penalty.
So I think whether that needs to be explicitly written in or not, I guess I'm assuming it probably doesn't, but I think by virtue of the village board adopting this ordinance, that effectively then precludes anyone who doesn't have that Class 15 license from serving BYOB. Whereas now they could, once there's an ordinance on the books, designating a license for it, you have to have the license. And Attorney Winter can correct me if that's wrong.
Yeah, that's correct. Now that if the board adopts regulations, then this forces them to obtain that license. And so it would be an ordinance violation not to, and so they would most likely be warned, and then they could be issued a citation.
Okay, so that's not codified, though, so it would just, or is it?
Well, there's not a paragraph directly saying that, but that's the way this would operate within our municipal code.
Thank you. And then my other one, sort of related also, is there a limit then to the number of licensees?
I think as is typical with most of all of our classifications, we have 0, and then as an applicant comes before the board and has met all the recommendation, the police department review, and we bring them forward for recommendation, then we would add a license at that time, coterminous with so that we don't have open licenses just sitting out there waiting to be applied for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Garner?
Who is responsible for making sure that the unused portion of alcohol is resealed in a tamper-proof manner consistent with the Illinois Control Commission?
That's an
guidelines?
excellent question, and that responsibility would fall to the licensee. Really, any of the responsibilities that we are laying out in provisions of the ordinance, I think you could probably argue that it's a shared responsibility, but because this is the licensee, they have the predominant responsibility to ensure that before it leaves.
It's going to be shared, but the person, then transporting it, you can't have an open transportation of alcohol. So it will definitely be on the person transporting the container. It has to be sealed, or they could get a ticket.
And when you say sealed, what is it sealed in? Is it,
They have these,
The tamper-proof bags.
yeah,
okay, so the
restaurants already, some of the restaurants allow that currently.
So would the restaurant provide the bags, or would the patron bring the bag?
I think we would it wouldn't be written, it wouldn't be codified, but it would be recommended that a licensee have that, because if it leaves their premises not properly sealed, it'll
Yeah,
just
and
come
if
back
they
to them.
don't have the seal, then, they shouldn't be leaving the premises, with an open container.
And I would think if that person was pulled over with an open container and said, well, I was coming from ABC Salon or whatever, then we could go back to the salon and say this was a violation of your license, and then it would follow the path of any liquor license violation.
And again, realistically, we're probably just talking about the wine bottles. Because there's no spirits, so it'd just be, whether they have the seal for a wine bottle.
Got it.
Trustee Hood?
No, nothing.
Trustee Thorstensen?
So this is a nice marketing opportunity for the corporate groups, because I've been involved in a lot of these types, whether it's this or other, and they're all, Lincolnshire, Schaumburg, so, and I don't have any artistic ability, but I was invited to one of these, so I can tell you that I'll probably try it again, but not get better. But the question is about the license fee. Did you say how consistent we are amongst our peers?
Thank you, good question. We do have a pretty good idea of the range, and I would say running the average of all the communities for which we have that fee information, we are probably just, we were very close to average, maybe just a little bit above. I seem to recall that the average was about 475, something like that, and we're proposing 500. We certainly didn't want to be, too extreme at either end, and we felt that was a pretty nice round number right in the middle.
Good, thank you.
What do we charge on a temporary license? You know what we charge
Like a
for?
special event sort of a
Yeah,
license?
I'd have to
Yeah.
look.
Gosh, I'm sorry, I don't know what that one
We
is.
only have a couple applications a year,
Yeah.
and I know Gurnee Days is one, and we waived that fee. One or two churches, but I'd have to look and see what that is.
Not important, I was just wondering how it compared. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by trustee O'Brien, second by trustee Thorstensen. Roll call, please.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner. Aye. O'Brien.
Aye.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
5 aye.
All right, motion carries. We have a new liquor license
you.
classification. All right, and we'll look forward to seeing you here for your BYOB license very soon and getting Paint and Sip open. Congratulations. Okay. Motion carried. All right, item number 3 is approval of ordinance 2020-64, authorizing the execution of a third amendment to the agreement between the Village of Gurnee and Red Flex Traffic Systems, Inc. for photo red light enforcement program.
Sure, so you remember our July Committee of the Whole presentation. Chief Smith was before you presenting information regarding the red light camera program, knowing that it was up for renewal. The process and our program really got going about 15 years ago. The goal was to make our roads safer and reduce automobile-related injuries and accidents by reestablishing a respect for red lights. Chief Smith provided a pretty detailed memo. I won't go through all of it. When the contract has come up for renewal each time, our approach has been to amend the contract and only have those terms that are changing addressed in that amendment. The remainder of the contract remains consistent with what was originally approved by the village board. This amendment is 3 pages in total, really addresses costs related to the program. It's a 5-year term with the 10 operational approaches that are currently in effect at a cost of $3,975 per approach. So our program, as you remember, isn't based off the number of tickets or violations that are sent to us by Red Flex. We have a set monthly fee per approach with our program. As part of the amendment, Red Flex will also be required to upgrade our back office software and then upgrade the cameras to the newest HD video and mapping radar at its own expense. The per approach cost in this contract is about a 7% reduction compared to where we're at. So if you calculate that out over the term of the contract, presuming that all approaches are up and running, that's about a savings of $206,000 for the Village of Gurnee. Again, included in your packet was a pretty detailed memo as well as the PowerPoint presentation that was provided back in July, so financial information and then the amendment. Attorney Winter has reviewed the amendment, didn't have any issues with it. Like I said, it files pretty standard form for what's been approved by the village board in the past. And obviously Chief Smith is here if there's any follow-up questions about the program.
All right, questions from the trustees? Trustee O'Brien?
My only question had to do with Grand and Hunt Club. It looked like there's an escalation clause on that so that it raises up to a much higher price after a few months or something like that. Is that for all the cameras or only for Hunt Club and Grand?
So that would only be for the Route 132 and Hunt Club intersection, and that is based on the approval date. We've already submitted our paperwork to have that intersection approved by IDOT, but there is a process that it goes through once it's been taken offline and improvements have been made to the intersection. We need to apply with the Illinois Department of Transportation again. And so that one's been offline for about 1.5 years, and we're hopeful that it would come back online. But again, based on the costs that you have in front of you, that was Red Flex's response to when that would come back online and what the costs would be.
based on what's left in the contract.
So they're trying to make sure that they get a full contract value, even though the light's only open for a short period of time, right?
Correct.
And again, we don't know if IDOT would approve cameras again, so there's quite a bit we have to go through to get that approval.
I just didn't understand the escalation. Thank you.
Other trustees? Okay, thank you, Chief. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by trustee Garner, second by trustee O'Brien. Roll call, please.
Ross. Garner. O'Brien.
Aye.
Hood.
Yes?
Thorstenson.
Yes.
Five aye.
All right.
Thank you.
motion- Thank you. Motion carries. Up next is our 2021 Village Board meeting schedule.
Sure, so Jack worked on this for next year. I'll try to stick to the first, third, and fourth Mondays unless we've got a holiday or some other conflict, which has been typical in the past. July, we're looking at the first and fourth Mondays to avoid MLK Day. I hear there's an election in April, so we want to avoid the night before that, so we're moving those meetings to the second and third Mondays. 4th of July is on a Sunday, so that Monday is a village holiday. Our offices are closed, so we're looking at the second and third Mondays in July, and then Labor Day on the first Monday in September. So again, looking at the second and third Mondays in September. Otherwise, consistent with first, third, and fourth for the most part.
Sure, everybody looked at their 21 calendar, see if Pat or Jack missed anything. And we certainly hope it's a better year than 2020.
Yep.
I have a motion from trustee Ross to approve, second from trustee Garner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. I'm going to open the floor to public comment. There is no public comment. I have a statement that I'd like to read into the record. Tonight, I would like to inform the board of my intention not to run for re-election this April. As you serve, there's great sacrifice that you make in your life to accommodate mayoral duties and responsibilities. I have a family and a small business besides a full-time job. And as you serve a community that takes away from all those things, but mostly family, this gives me an opportunity to step back, take a breath, and focus on my family. It has been a wonderful honor to have been able to lead the village these past 15 and a half years. It'll be almost 16. Gurnee is a remarkable place. It is a small town with many big city attributes. We are fortunately blessed with particularly talented residents and business owners. They care deeply about this community and will ensure a very bright future. The first lesson I learned as mayor is you cannot do this all by yourself. You have got to have the help of your trustees, village administrator, department heads, and staff. And over the years, I have had a tremendous, smart, and dedicated team, the best in the state. Together, we accomplish so much. We are financially strong, a safe community, and economically viable. I will be forever grateful to the residents and constituents of this village. Your respect and support during these years has meant the world to me. I want you all to know that I have left nothing on the table. Every term, I have given 100% energy and effort to this position to ensure that Gurnee is the best place to live, work, and play. And it is my promise that I will continue with that same energy and effort until the end of my term, May 3rd, 2021, especially during these challenging times. I had to say, there's no crying in politics like 10 times. So it's official now. All right, and if there is no other business or public comment, then do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Garner, second by trustee Thorstenson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.